Guys, Eric has been the one making decisions in the company for a while. After Stephanie died, he was the sole founder of Forrester Creations. He is also not satisfied by Hope's firing, and he may realize that if he leaves Ridge and Steffi all the power, they'll not always make the best decisions for the company. So what if he realizes that and decides to make a tough choice? Imagine Eric deciding that the Logans have contributed to the company a lot and they deserve a place too. So to bring Hope back, he decides to secretly sell or give his shares to Hope. This would make Steffi and Ridge livid, and even without his shares, he'd actually still have a say in the company. And besides, let's be honest, Ridge and Steffi refuse to listen to him whatsoever. If he does a favor to Hope, maybe she and Brooke will be of more use to him. Eric's decision. What if Eric is planning a game-changing move at Forrester Creations? After years of guiding the company, he's likely tired of being ignored by Ridge and Steffi, who seem determined to run things their way. The Logans, like it or not, have played a significant role in shaping the company's success. Eric knows that better than anyone, and maybe he's starting to believe it's time they had more influence. To make this happen, he could decide to transfer his shares to Hope, giving her a stronger foothold in the company. Imagine the uproar this would cause. Steffi and Ridge would undoubtedly be furious. Their tight grip on control would suddenly feel a lot less secure. Even without his shares, Eric wouldn't lose his voice. He's still Eric Forrester, and his influence goes beyond numbers on paper. By aligning himself with Hope and Brooke, he might find allies who value his input more than Ridge and Steffi ever did. And let's be honest, Ridge and Steffi haven't exactly been willing to listen to him lately. This move wouldn't just be about Hope's return, it'd be a strategic statement. Eric would be reminding everyone that Forrester Creations isn't just about one family's dominance. It's about balance and legacy, something he's fiercely protective of. His decision might spark chaos, but it could also pave the way for a fairer leadership dynamic in his mind. Guys, imagine just like during Shekin's wedding, Finn going to Il Giardino on Thanksgiving to buy something. This will be the first time ever for Sheila to have a Thanksgiving with her own family, even if the family is only Deacon. Imagine the joy on her face when she sees Finn walk right in the moment for her to set up the table. She'd try her best to make Finn stay, and he would obviously decline, so maybe she'd somehow make Finn taste her pie or something, right in time for Steffi to walk in and bust him eating Sheila's food. Steffi would obviously be furious, and she'd storm away, warning Finn that if he even dared to return, she'd take the kids away from him forever. What will he do next? Finn's dilemma. Thanksgiving drama is brewing in Los Angeles, and it's got messy written all over it. Finn, probably just running a simple holiday errand at Il Giardino, stumbles into a situation no one saw coming. As luck or misfortune would have it, Sheila is there, setting up what might be her first ever Thanksgiving celebration with a family, even if that family is just Deacon. The timing couldn't be worse or better, depending on whose side you're on. The moment Sheila sees Finn walk in, her face lights up like it's Christmas morning. She's thrilled, seeing this as her chance to share even a small piece of the holiday with her son. Of course, Finn isn't planning to stick around, but Sheila's not letting him go that easily. She lays it on thick, offering her best attempt at warmth and charm, insisting he taste her pie. Finn, being Finn, might give in just to keep the peace. But that one bite? A disaster waiting to happen. Enter Steffi, right on cue. She walks in to find her husband eating Sheila's food, and her fury is instant and explosive. For Steffi, it's not just pie, it's betrayal. She doesn't mince words, warning Finn that she'll take the kids and walk away for good. Meanwhile, Sheila's likely savoring every second of the chaos, seeing it as a step closer to pulling Finn into her web. For Finn and Steffi, though, the holiday is ruined, and their family's future looks uncertain. The question now is, can Finn fix this mess, or has Sheila already won? So Sheila's not around much, which is confusing. Now are they really looking to redeem Sheila of all people? I don't know about you, but I think a sociopath like Sheila is incapable of having redemption. And let's say she tried for a while, how can we be sure? I mean, she still loves Finn, and she still wants to be a part of Hayes' life, so how do we not know that she's plotting schemes against Steffi to strike her when she's at her lowest? Sheila's old now, she's not the same feisty woman she once was, and she's finally found the happiness she thinks she deserves, so she can't keep on having jailbreaks forever either. So for all we know, she's only gotten smarter, and when she strikes the next time, things may be so much worse and fatal. Dissecting Sheila. Sheila Carter staying out of the spotlight? Feels weird, doesn't it? This is Sheila we're talking about, the ultimate chaos queen. But lately, it's like she's gone quiet, and honestly, it's unsettling. Are they seriously trying to paint her as someone who could be redeemed? Let's be real here. A sociopath like Sheila doesn't just change overnight. Even if she's pretending to turn a new leaf, how could anyone truly believe it's for real? She's still obsessed with Finn and desperate to be a part of Hayes' life. That kind of fixation doesn't just vanish. If anything, it could mean she's cooking up something even more devious. Steffi, as usual, is probably her prime target, especially if Sheila sees her as the roadblock to her twisted idea of a perfect family. Could she be lying low, waiting for the right moment to strike? It's not hard to picture her plotting in the shadows, aiming to hit when Steffi least expects it. If anything, age might have made her more calculating. Gone are the days of impulsive stunts and dramatic escapes. She knows those won't work forever, so maybe she's playing the long game. That kind of patience? Terrifying. Because when Sheila makes her next move, it could be devastating and potentially fatal. So, is this silence a sign of redemption or the calm before an even bigger storm? With Sheila, you just never know. But one thing's certain, if she's planning something, it's going to be bigger and smarter than anything we've seen before. Is it a coincidence that Elektra's abusive ex and Luna are appearing on screen at the same time? I mean, sure, we haven't seen any connection between the two, but Remy seems still obsessed with Elektra and Luna's looking to tug at Bill's heartstrings, which isn't going well. The fact that she's in prison and letters are her only lifeline right now isn't helping. But don't you think someone like Remy has been to prison too, or will be there? It seems Luna's still waiting for a trial, so her incarceration is not solid. As for Remy, he might have had some kind of fight or something, or will have one landing him in prison for, say, a couple of weeks or months. What if Luna and Remy meet in prison? The fact that Will and Elektra are getting closer isn't a coincidence too. If they both realize they can team up and upend the Spencers' lives, maybe Remy will get Elektra back and Bill will be at Luna's mercy. Prison scheme. I mean, think about it, guys. There's a reason the show has brought two possible villains on screen at once. It was necessary for Luna to send letters to Bill right when Remy had been stalking Elektra. His obsession with his ex-girlfriend is still high, and he's making his way to Elektra. Soon he's going to find out that Elektra is in love with another man, Will Spencer, and hence, that Spencer boy will be his target from there on. Then there's Luna, who wishes she was getting through to Bill and softening him up with her sad letters to him. It isn't working, and she may need another plan if she wants a get-out-of-prison card. And Remy could be just that. It's not surprising to think a troubled boy like Remy has been or will be in prison. And that being said, what if these two young villains of B and Amp B meet at prison? I know it's a little unlikely, but it's not impossible. Perhaps they'll plan a prison break, or one will help the other. Regardless, Remy and Luna's alliance could be exactly what the Spencer family must fear. Their team-up could land Will in a fatal spot, Elektra in the hands of Remy again, and Luna having all control over Bill if she plays her cards right. Finn's character was fun at first, but it's only gone downhill since. And at this point, I don't even recognize it anymore. It's one thing the writers don't give him his own storyline, but he's nothing more than a puppet. And honestly, I thought he was a critical thinker. Sure, after Hope fell on him, especially because of the kiss she planted on him before, he might have been confused like Steffi. But whatever he says is just a paraphrased version of his wife's words, and it's getting old. So is it time to replace him? Maybe bring someone new for Steffi to play with, since Finn's old at this point? I mean, imagine how great it would have been if he had a personality instead of being his wife's toy. Finn's replacement. Finn's character on The Bold and the Beautiful has hit a serious decline. When he first arrived, he brought a fresh energy and seemed like someone with depth. Fans were hopeful that he'd be a strong, independent character who could hold his own. But lately, he's turned into nothing more than a yes man for Steffi, and it's honestly frustrating to watch. The biggest issue is that Finn no longer has his own storyline. He's become a background character, simply echoing whatever his wife says or does. It's like he's forgotten how to think for himself. Remember when Hope fell on him and things got awkward because of that previous kiss? Sure, he was confused, but instead of showing any real thought or reaction, he just stands around, waiting for Steffi to guide him through everything. At this point, it feels like Finn's just become part of the scenery. He's lost all the charm and potential he once had, and instead of evolving into a complex character, he's become flat and boring. There's no drama, no excitement, he's simply there to support Steffi. So, what now? Maybe it's time to consider replacing him. The show could really use someone new who can bring a bit more spark, someone with a personality and opinions of their own. If Finn's just going to continue being Steffi's sidekick, it might be better for her to find someone else who can challenge her and add something new to the storyline. Finn could have been great, but now he's just there.
Thank you for watching the video.
Now I know Carter and Hope have been kind of dating before all this mess started, but let's be clear. Their relationship skyrocketed only when Carter started getting desperate about changing FC the way he wanted and the jewelry line and everything. Now I'm not saying that Carter might not be really in love with Hope, but what if most of his feelings for her are coming from a place of desperation? He wants to save HFTF, and he wants to be heard. With Ridge and Steffi completely ignoring him, maybe this relationship with Hope is sort of a rebellion, but perhaps he himself doesn't really know yet. Is Hope in for a heartbreak when Carter realizes he is not in love with her, but only confused? Love in shambles. Let's talk about what's really going on with Carter and his sudden closeness with Hope. This isn't just about romance, there's a whole lot of frustration brewing underneath. See, Ridge and Steffi have been running the show at Forrester Creations, and it's pretty clear they've been pushing Carter's ideas aside. He's got all these plans for the company, especially when it comes to HFTF and the jewelry line, but no one's really giving him the time of day. That's got to sting, right? So, it's no surprise that Carter might be acting out in response. His relationship with Hope? Maybe it's not as much about love as it is about making a statement. Think about it, Ridge and Steffi have sidelined him, so what's the best way to get their attention? Support the one line they've been lukewarm about, hope for the future. By throwing his weight behind HFTF and getting close to Hope, Carter's making a bold move to say, hey, I'm here, and you can't ignore me. His frustrations with the Forresters could be fueling his desire to rebel and stand out. But is Hope just caught in the middle of all this? Could Carter's feelings for her be more about his anger toward Ridge and Steffi than actual romance? If his motivations are driven by proving a point, that's a dangerous game. Hope might think Carter's all in, but this relationship could be built on shaky ground if it's more about revenge than love. Now we know B and B just brought Luna as the lunatic of the show, so there's no reason to make Elektra as skewed up as she was. But who said people don't change? What I'm trying to say is, folks, what if Elektra might be a sweet little girl right now, but what if it wasn't always like that? It's possible that what she's afraid of is not her abusive boyfriend from the past returning to torture her again, but Remy could be returning to show everyone around Elektra her true colors. And maybe in the process alert what he's getting himself into. Now once again, it's totally possible that Elektra is a changed woman now, and the past is way behind her. But it would be interesting to see her desperately trying to paint Remy as the bad guy as he tries to reveal her true nature to everyone. Elektra's past. What if everything we thought we knew about Elektra on The Bold and the Beautiful is just a front? Sure, she seems like the sweet, innocent girl caught up in all kinds of drama, but what if her past is a lot darker than we've been led to believe? I know, she looks like she wouldn't hurt a fly now, but let's be honest, people don't stay the same. It's totally possible that Elektra wasn't always so innocent, and what's haunting her now isn't fear of an ex, but the return of Remy, who could be here to expose her for who she really was. We've all been assuming Remy is the bad guy, right? But what if he's not? What if Remy's return is more about showing everyone around Elektra, especially Will, that she's not as squeaky clean as she seems? Imagine Elektra desperately trying to paint Remy as a villain, all while he's just calmly pulling back the curtain on her past. Maybe she's changed now, sure. Maybe she's left that old life behind. But what if Remy has the power to rip her new life apart by revealing who she used to be? Can you picture the tension? Elektra scrambling to keep her perfect image intact. Meanwhile, he's quietly showing Will what kind of mess he's really getting into. If Remy exposes her, Elektra's entire world could fall apart. At Il Giardino, Finn and Deacon have a tense encounter when they run into each other. Finn might have just been there for food, but things quickly turn heated when Deacon brings up Hope. Defending her as always, Deacon insists the lingerie incident was nothing but a misunderstanding. Finn isn't convinced at all. Even though the conversation doesn't turn physical, the tension between them is unmistakable, and neither is backing down. Meanwhile, Steffi and Ridge are left confused by Carter's sudden support of Hope. Carter's determination to get Hope's line back on track has both of them puzzled, and they can't figure out what's motivating him. Despite the growing suspicion that something more is going on, neither Ridge nor Steffi connects the dots just yet. As Carter and Hope continue their secret relationship, it's only getting harder to keep things quiet. Carter's fierce defense of Hope is bound to raise more questions, and when the truth comes out, it's going to cause serious fallout. Fierce face-off. So on Thursday, Finn finds himself crossing paths with Deacon at Il Giardino. While Finn might have just been there for some takeout, things quickly escalate when he and Deacon have a heated chat about Hope. Deacon's eager to defend his daughter, insisting that the whole lingerie incident was nothing but a misunderstanding. But Finn? He's not convinced. He's pretty firm in believing that Hope was throwing herself at him, and no amount of explanation from Deacon is changing that. Even though they don't get physical, the tension between them is obvious. Now, while Finn's busy dealing with that awkward situation, Steffi and Ridge are still scratching their heads over Carter. Carter has suddenly become Hope's biggest advocate at Forrester, and it's leaving Steffi and Ridge baffled. They can't seem to understand why Carter is pushing so hard to get Hope's line reinstated. What's his angle? Is there something they're missing? You'd think by now they'd start suspecting that Carter's passion might be tied to something more personal, but for now, they're still clueless about what's really driving him. As for Carter and Hope, well, their secret romance is still flying under the radar. But it's only a matter of time before it all comes crashing down. And when it does, it's going to be wild.
Thank you for...
Christmas is coming, and by that time I believe Hope and Carter will be more solid. But the pressure of everything happening right now might create a crack in their relationship too. As always, Eric will probably host a dinner party, and this time, Carter and Hope will probably not join. Whatever it is, we might find Carter drinking his sorrows away at a bar where Poppy joins. It's a sad Christmas for both of them, especially if Hope and Carter had a big fight as well. Now we know that Poppy gave up her mints since the disaster that led Luna to be high and sleep with Zend, but her daughter is in prison now, and Bill's discarded her, so she might be back popping those pills again. And maybe she'll convince Crater to have some with her this time, to ease the pain and all. Will it lead to another cheating scandal where Carter betrays Hope by sleeping with Poppy after being high on alcohol and pills? Carter's dilemma. Carter and Hope's relationship might seem strong now, but the pressures of the holiday season could push them to their breaking point. As Christmas approaches, Carter could be dealing with emotional turmoil, especially if he and Hope have a big fight. Picture this, Carter, drowning his sorrows at a bar, and who else shows up but Poppy? She's got her own problems, her daughter's in prison, and Bill's abandoned her. The temptation to fall back into bad habits might be too strong, and she might just convince Carter to join her for a little escape. Poppy had sworn off the pills, but in her current state of misery, she could easily start popping them again. Worse, she might drag Carter into it. Under the influence of alcohol and pills, Carter's judgment could be clouded, leading to a scandal that no one sees coming. The real question is whether Carter will stay loyal to Hope, or if a moment of weakness with Poppy will lead to an affair that could destroy everything he's built with Hope. Poppy's in a bad place, and she could take Carter down with her. One night of bad decisions could lead to a lot of regret, especially if Carter betrays Hope. As Christmas approaches, things could go downhill fast for Carter and Hope. RJ has been around for a while, and now I think even he realizes Ridge has failed as a father. And that to Ridge no one comes as close as Steffi. He might be already upset with the way these two handled the situation with Hope by firing her, but imagine even when the truth comes out, what if they're not going to make it right? Ridge could decide enough is enough. Hope was once Ridge's daughter too, stepdaughter, but it counts. Ridge also doesn't care about Thomas, who is in Paris. We never see him talking about his son, so RJ may realize it was a mistake to return and stay. So imagine he meets Ridge to tell him that he's moving out before he's chased out like Thomas and Hope have been, since Steffi's clearly the only important child in Ridge's life. RJ leaves. RJ's been back long enough to realize that Ridge isn't exactly father of the year, especially when it comes to anyone who isn't Steffi. It's becoming crystal clear to RJ that, in Ridge's world, Steffi is the golden child and everyone else barely matters. Even Hope, who is supposed to have a place in Ridge's heart as his stepdaughter, has been pushed aside, especially after the way Ridge and Steffi handled her firing. It's almost like Hope and Thomas are out of sight, out of mind. RJ is starting to see a pattern. Ridge seems to have given up on his other kids. It's Steffi who gets all the attention, and RJ's finally had enough of it. He's been sticking around, hoping things would get better, but now he's wondering if it was a mistake to come back in the first place. Imagine RJ deciding to confront Ridge. He tells him he's leaving before he ends up like Hope and Thomas, chased away, unnoticed, and clearly less important. RJ's not going to wait around to be pushed aside like they were. He realizes that Ridge has already made his choice, and RJ's not part of it. RJ walks away, knowing he deserves better than to be just another forgotten child in Ridge's world. He promises himself he won't return unless Ridge wakes up and starts acting like a father to all his kids, not just Steffi. But honestly, I'm not expecting that to happen anytime soon. We know that Carter and Hope's romance is not going to be a secret for too long. Sooner rather than later, Carter's relationship is about to be revealed, and when it does, it could backfire real bad for Steffi. Steffi fired Hope no matter how much she tried to explain it was all a mistake. Now when this comes to light, Finn will feel bad since he assumed too, but we can't say the same about Steffi. The word gets out and the public finds out about it too. They'll definitely blame Steffi for being a bad CEO and a bad person in the first place. Finn might start realizing that Steffi's not really a nice woman, and on top of that, as Katie predicted, this might be a PR nightmare ruining Steffi's career altogether, possibly forever. Steffi's fall. Things are about to get messy on The Bold and the Beautiful, and Steffi's in for a wild ride. Carter and Hope's secret romance, aka Harder, isn't going to stay hidden for long, and when it finally spills out, Steffi's going to feel the heat. Let's be real, Steffi's already in hot water after firing Hope without giving her a chance to explain. She might have thought it was justified, but once the truth about Hope and Carter hits the fan, Steffi's ruthless decision is going to come back to bite her. Finn, poor guy, is likely going to feel guilty. After all, he made some assumptions about Hope's involvement, too. But the real trouble is Steffi's public image. People are going to see her as a terrible CEO, and not just because of her actions toward Hope. It's going to be a PR nightmare, just as Katie predicted. If the media gets hold of the story, Steffi's career could take a massive hit, one that she might not recover from. And then there's Finn. His loyalty to Steffi might start to waver. The more he sees of Steffi's cold side, the more he might wonder if she's the woman he thought she was. It wouldn't be surprising if he starts questioning whether Steffi's really the good person he believed her to be. Steffi's world is about to crumble. Once the truth is out, there's no turning back. This might just be the PR disaster that ruins Steffi's life as she knows it. Remy Price's obsession with Electra is getting worse. He's constantly searching for updates about her, determined to find a way back into her life. If she goes ahead with the upcoming photoshoot, it will only feed his fixation, making it harder for her to leave the past behind. Electra opens up to Ivy, expressing her fears about Remy while admitting how much she enjoys being with Will. Ivy reassures her, but Electra still feels like Remy's presence is hanging over her, ready to ruin everything. On the other side, Will's trying to navigate his first real romance, but things take a turn when his mom, Katie, interrupts at the worst time. After sharing his first kiss with Electra, Katie appears, catching on to the romantic tension. Once Electra leaves, Katie questions Will about the new girl. Will isn't eager to share much and gives short answers, but he hints at Electra's uneasiness with attention. While Electra is enjoying her budding relationship with Will, Remy's constant lurking keeps her on edge. Stalking. Remy is becoming more obsessed with Electra by the day. He's digging up information online, determined to force his way back into her life. If Electra goes through with the photoshoot, it'll only fuel his obsession. She's trying to move on, but Remy's fixation won't let her escape the past. Electra confides in Ivy, sharing her fears about Remy while also revealing how much she's enjoying her new relationship with Will. Despite Ivy's reassurance, Electra can't shake the feeling that Remy's lurking, ready to ruin things again. Meanwhile, Will's trying to deal with his first real romance, but an awkward interruption from his mom, Katie, throws things off. Right after sharing his first kiss with Electra, Katie shows up and notices the sparks between them. Once Electra leaves, Katie takes the opportunity to ask Will about the new girl in his life. Will, uncomfortable with the questioning, tries to keep things vague, but he hints at Electra's discomfort with being in the spotlight. As Electra tries to enjoy her time with Will, her past with Remy continues to cast a shadow over her. She's trying to move forward, but Remy's obsession isn't fading. With every step Electra takes toward a fresh start, Remy's fixation threatens to derail everything. Electra wants to focus on her relationship with Will, but with Remy in the background, it's clear this romance is headed for some serious complications.
Thank you for watching the video. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to check some of our other videos. And we hope to see you again in the next video.